Hey guys, this is Milton_fanfiction. Nice to see you guys again. Sorry for being gone so long. Anyways, please do consider subscribing to this channel and leave a like and drop a comment to help me support my channel. Anyways, let's begin. 1. Prologue. Next men. Of course Obito turned to their side. Only his taijutsu was worthy to rival Madara. As his body was slowly being blown away by the wind, Naruto appeared. If anyone could beat Madara, it'd be Naruto. That gave him hope as his breathing became hollow, till it ceased altogether. X equals X. Guy shifted. It felt like his body was being moved. He frowned, grunting out. He slowly opened his eyes, which he soonly regretted, the sun blinding him momentarily. His vision blurry, seeing a figure hover over him. Eyes slowly adjusting, he was able to make out a brunette. Eyes finally deciding to work. He was able to make out two distinctive purple marks on her cheeks. Her brown eyes gazing down at him with concern. Am I dead? He murmurs out weakly. Guy was absolutely certain the girl above him was Nohara Rin. The woman Obito started the war over. The war that was the downfall of many people, including himself. She looked taken back by the question. Guy, you need help. You are badly injured, she states with a figure behind her coming to view. Guy instantly noticed it as Obito. Younger, unscared. Now he knew he was either dead or delusional. He picked delusional when he turned his head to the side, seeing a younger Kakashi. I perfectly fine. Arms crossed next to Minato, who also looked a bit concerned for the boy. Guy looked away from them, eyes quickly taking in his surroundings. Guy, can you speak properly? He heard Minato ask him. He steadied himself up with wobbly arms, instantly falling back with a grunt. He was definitely in an immense amount of pain. Guy could bear through it. If he was in the much pain, he wasn't dead or delusional. Maybe a genjutsu. He doubted. Madara didn't use his Sharingan on him, plus he was certain the men wouldn't use a pitiful attempt to kill him. It was a waste of time. Time the men couldn't throw away so freely, so carelessly. So was he in the past? Possible and way more likely. Guy managed to hold in a groan of agony, as he managed to sit up properly. Upper body slouching. You shouldn't be getting up. Your internal organs are unstable and will most likely clasp without coordinated or gentle movements. Rin informs him seriously. During training she had found the boy like this and unconscious. She instantly went to go get her sensei, with Obito and Kakashi not too far behind them. To say Minato was shocked was an understatement. The boy was drenched in blood and scarred. The upper half of his green jumpsuit was torn and seemingly forgotten. The bandages around his arms was sprawled out on his body, badly burned. He had a deep frown implanted into his features. When Guy woke up, Minato bit back a gasp. His eyes were so lifeless, so disconnected from the world. Kakashi seemed to notice, his body stiffening momentarily. From what Minato knew of the boy and his father, his eyes spoke nothing of knowing true suffering, pain, the loss of what important to him. Guy did mourn slightly for the death of his student Neji. He did mourn slightly that he left Lee and Tenten to fend for themselves, even if he knew they were fully capable of holding their own. Especially with Naruto and the others there, he couldn't help but to feel dread eat away at a rotting corpse of a soul. Guy got to his feet. Swaying, breathing raged. Rin instantly got to her feet to help the other. Guy, didn't you hear what I said? She yells out worriedly. Guy glanced over to her, managing to move his head, with little help of his neck and backbone. The glance made Rin step back almost instantly. Who is that? That couldn't be Guy. Guy would never look so defeated. Rin covered her mouth with her hand instinctively. Obito could hardly believe that that was the bushy brows weirdo that shouted about youth so much. Guy smiled at them, giving them a thumbs up. See, I am perfectly fine, Guy said in a cheery tone. Even though he faked it, it came off as real. Like hell you are, Kakashi thought grimly. Rin didn't believe him for a bit. It didn't seem Minato was totally sold on the act neither. Minato let out a rusty sigh as he walked over to the boy. Guy, we need to check you into a hospital and notify your father, Minato states, going to one knee in front of Guy as he places a hand on his shoulder. If Guy was in pain, he surely didn't show it physically. Guy's eyes widened slightly at the mention of his father. He hadn't seen Due in decades. Father dying around this time. Minato instantly noticed the boy stiffen harshly. Eyes widen in shock and realization. Minato frowned at that. As much as Guy loved his father to death, he wasn't emotionally stable to see him yet. He managed to deal with his death after years, to grow with his students, but was too weak to save Niji. He lost sight of his students and his precious Lee. He couldn't bear to face his father after that. Or with the state he was in. He couldn't look into those hopeful eyes. When he failed to save his students or comrades, he failed and was sure he'd break down if he faced his father so soon. The one person that had high hopes in him. Guy gritted his teeth in pure anger and self-loath. He balled his fist painfully tight. He felt tears threatening to escape. He was pitiful. Guy, Minato said firmly. Guy's eyes snapped up to meet Minato's stern ones. Minato didn't like that look on the boy's face. He was sure it was because he mentioned his father. He was sure Guy loved his father so deeply. So he didn't get why the boy looked ready to break. Like he lost hope in everything. That expression shouldn't be on a child's face. Like he was knocking on death's door begging for entrance. Eyes of a true veteran. As if being haunted by torturous downfalls. It didn't fit him. Nor belonged on his features. Don't tell my father. I don't need to go to the hospital. I'll manage. I mean, it's not like I haven't been in worse conditions and move on like nothing has happened. Guy chuckled absently, scratching the back of his head. Half of that statement was true. He has been in worse conditions, but Lee wouldn't back down from getting him to go check in with a medic. Minato frowned. What was that supposed to mean? He'd been in worse condition. It didn't sit well with Minato. It actually made his stomach churn. His mental state sounded worse than Kakashi. After Tsukumo died, and that was saying a lot. You know, I can't do that, Guy. You need to get examined. Minato stated firmly. Kakashi was ready to shout at the idiot. To just go to the damn hospital to get it over with. Guy acting like this made him extremely uneasy. Guy's eyes glanced to Kakashi, noticing the uncomfortable movements. Okay, Guy said in a dry and dull voice. Almost making all four flinch. He had to face his father eventually. He decided it was better sooner than later. Kami must really hate him to put such a load on him. He had to change things, he was sure of that. 2. Chapter 1. Next, a Guy was in the hospital for 3 hours before his father came bursting in his room. Due would have been there earlier if it hadn't been for his mission. As soon as Minato told him Guy was badly injured, he dashed off to the hospital. Guy's eyes shifted from his extremely worried father, who was crying dramatically. Guy let out a feverish sigh. Minato stood at the door to view how the interaction would play out. Due instantly gave his son a hug. Guy's face contorted painfully. Sorrow in his eyes as he silently wept. Clutching onto his father's back clothing, he buried his face into his father's shoulder. Minato's stomach turned at the sight of the boy's face. Guy seemed to be holding so much pain and grief. In his silent breakdown, Minato blinked in surprise. Who knew someone could still hold grief back while breaking down? He knew he would have to keep an eye on Guy for a while. It's all right, Guy. We should be going home not too long from now. You should be good as new when you get out. Due said determinedly. Guy didn't trust himself to speak. So he went with the next best thing and nodded. When Guy got out the hospital, he wasn't allowed to do any missions for a week. Which left him week of thinking and contemplating. Guy thought his best bet is to start off with Obito. He'd deal with Orochimaru when he can and if needed. Madara is in old age now. Meaning all he have to do with him was the waiting game and wait for him to croak. Unless he couldn't stop him from getting his hands on Obito before then. A lot was really complicated. He knew exactly what he was going to do. To a certain extent. Well, he would have to check if his power was that of his adult self. It was a great thing he spotted Obito. "Hey Obito, could you spar with me?" Guy asked, grinning as he walked over to the Uchiha. Obito blinked as he looked over to the spandex boy. "Why me? Don't you usually challenge Kakashi?" Obito questions, a bit curious. "Well, Kakashi would have denied me anyways. Plus I need to test something. A Uchiha as strong as you should be able to help me," Guy said determinedly, smiling brightly at him. "You got the wrong Uchiha then. I can't even activate my Sharingan," Obito states with a pout. Guy frowned. He thought he had it by now. "You will get it soon enough. Even advance beyond your clan's expectation. Youth burns deeply within you. What you need a push," Guy states. Obito blinked at that. Sounded like Guy knew he will. Not to cheer him up or anything. Like he was absolutely positive he would. "Sure, I'll spar with you. Though I am late for meeting up with MG team. I'll meet you after I'm finished." Obito grinned, running off. Guy was still restricted from taking assignments, and couldn't train with his teammates Ebisu and Genma, since they were out on a mission. "Sorry I'm late. I was talking to Guy about sparring." "Well, more like he asked me," Obito said, nearly out of breath. "If you're going to lie, Obito, I suggest you make it believable," Kakashi says, frowning. "What? I'm not lying, it's the truth," Obito shouted at him. Guy hadn't bothered Kakashi for days about some meaningless challenge, and Kakashi was content with that. But he highly doubt that Guy would change rivals so soonly and downgrade to Obito. It was kind of insulting. "You like Guy would spar with you?" Kakashi retorted. To Obito, the bastard sounded jealous. "That's enough, guys. We still got training and missions to do," Minato said with a deep sigh. With how Guy was acting, Rin wouldn't be surprised if Obito was actually telling the truth. All they really got was D-ranked missions. After that, Obito ran off to go look for Guy. He found Guy near the memorial stone, practicing on a post. Guy managed to adjust to his shorter body, which was fairly quick, especially with how quick he can adapt to things. Him and Lee. Guy found out he got over half his strength when he was an adult, but couldn't see if he had his full capacity if he didn't have a moving target to work on. Plus, an Uchiha would be great to test it out on. He even managed to put on over 60,000 tons of weights, so his speed wouldn't look out of place. As to when he was a kid, which wasn't a lot of help. "Oi, Guy," Obito called out, waving, as he ran over to the boy. Kakashi was a bit surprised he wasn't lying. He planned on watching their sparring. If the Uchiha happened to not be lying. Unknown to him, even Minato and Due watched in hiding spots. Minato to check Guy for any other possible signs. Due to see if his son was fully recovered. Due got off his mission a few hours ago, not failing to hear about Guy's sparring match. Even Rin, Genma, and Ebisu was there. Guy only noticing Ebisu, Rin, and Genma being there. If anyone else was there, they masked their chakra pretty well. Plus, Guy was content with a few of his friends watching. It'd be easier to explain. He doubt Kakashi was there. It was good for him anyhow. Not like Kakashi would question him or anything. He just didn't like being followed. His father now that would take hell to explain to him. He doubt Minato was around. He had his own students to worry about. Unless he was there for Obito, which was likely. "Okay, ready, Obito?" Guy asked, grinning cheekily. Obito nods, seriously getting in his fighting stance. Before Obito could blink, Guy was gone. "Move," he heard Guy's voice above him say. Obito barely moved out the way as Guy's leg came down, shattering the ground, almost causing Obito to fall in. Obito looked at him, wide eyes. He don't remember Guy being that fast and strong. "If we're going to spar, Obito, you are going to have to dodge my attacks and come at me full force," Guy states. He really didn't believe Obito could go down so easily with one move. "I can't keep up with that speed," Obito shouts to him, staring at him like he had lost his mind. "Yes, you can. Uchihas and Hyugas are natural sensory types, so are Abrams and Inuzukas. It comes as a sixth sense. Uchiha are known for their eyes. You don't have your Sharingan yet, so feel my presence. Guy states firmly. Obito frowned at that. How am I supposed to feel you? You maniac. That's nearly impossible. Obito states grumpily. Yes you can. Are you really given up that easily? Listen, nothing is impossible, and I mean nothing. You have Uchiha blood. Instead of looking at it like the impossible, see it as something you can easily grab a hold of. Got it? Guy states, pointing at him. Well, I guess so. Obito muttered out. Great, now close your eyes. Guy demands. Obito looked at him as if he was crazy. When he stared at him expectantly, his side closing his eyes. Now feel everything around you. As if you can actually see it, let your chakra expand. Guy states. For you it should be easy. Since you know how to concentrate your chakra in the sole of your feet. Now think of it like that, but only exploding out. Guy explains. Obito nods, eyes closed tightly. Obito could feel the breeze move by softly. Guy could feel Obito chakra releasing. Not so much it'll drain you. Plus you only need little chakra to actually do this. Guy calls out. Obito nods in acknowledgement. Listening, he died down how much chakra he let out. His chakra spread like wildfire. Obito could see Rin, Ebisu, Genma, and even Kakashi. Obito eyes opened wide, turning to the trees they were hiding behind and bushes. Minato, Kakashi, Rin, Due, Genma, and Ebisu all stared in surprise. Guy taught Obito an advanced technique like was simple. See, it works now, do the same thing only in reverse. Suppress your chakra till you can't feel it no more. Guy states. Obito nods. Carefully drawing in all his chakra. Till he couldn't feel it. Guy was happy that Obito was a fast learner. Minato was beyond shock. All he had to do was numb it down for Obito to get it. He would have tried that method ages ago. Great. Now keep downing that, while you send your chakra out to search. Obito opened his eyes, nodding. He found it simple to do. He even found Due and Minato was this time. Kakashi gritted his teeth. Guy taught Obito how to sense and hide his chakra at a high rate. Due was proud of his son. Minato was sure he would bring Guy to their training. If Obito got it like this, to where he could even sense him. Minato was even hiding himself to full capacity. But still enough to hide from Genin or Chunin's. Guy managed to teach Obito how to sense and suppress chakra at a Jounin level. Now back to sparring. Guy states happily. Obito nodded determinedly. Like that, Guy was gone. This time Obito was able to move quick enough. Taking out a kunai. Obito wasn't able to dodge the kick to his side. Just cause you can sense me doesn't mean you can match my spread. Substitute for what you lack. Guy called out, appearing by Obito, who managed to block Guy incoming fist with his arm. Think quickly. Obito thought to himself, scanning his surroundings. In true battle you must think on your feet. Your enemy won't be as youthful as me. Your left side is weak and is exposed a lot. Guy states. Obito was able to block Guy foot that time. At the cost of almost shattering his arm bone. Look for you enemy weakness. Don't be fooled, they won't leave any clear opening. Study their movement quickly. Adjust as so. Instantly attack at the sight of an opening. Guy states seriously. Attacking quickly from every direction. Obito kept up with him barely. He still got hit and he was kept on the defense. There. Obito quickly shifted his stance, other foot moving under him. As he hoisted himself up from the ground. Twirling fast enough to catch Guy. Who instantly crossed his arms. Drawing his legs in. As Obito kick sent him back. Tumbling back. Guy stuck his legs out. Firmly placing himself on the ground before he went back even farther. Great job Obito, you're approving. Told you it's that Uchiha blood. Guy said happily. It felt more of a training than sparring, but he was happy none of the less. He learned a lot. All thanks to Guy. At least he had something great to tell his mom. "Oh man mom, I'm totally late." Obito shouted in his head. "Thanks Guy, but I got to go. Before my kill me." Obito shouts, running off. "Don't forget to train with your new youthful exercises." Guy calls out to him. "Okay." He heard Obito shout in the distance. Geez, it seemed like he sensed more people. "Oh well, deal with it later." Guy sighed, rubbing the back of his head. Week after week Obito and Guy sparred. He was able to go on missions with Ebisu and Genma again. Minato seen Obito improve dramatically. Guy even helped Ebisu and Genma improve as much as he could. He was planning on asking Rin to spar with him next. Kakashi was growing frustrated and didn't really know why. It was great to have Guy stop bugging him. So what was the problem? He was happy Obito improved. One less person to slow him down. Guy even hanged around Obito more. It was annoying. Did I get too boring or something? Am I not worthy of his time? Kakashi thought angrily. Why do Obito get all of Guy's attention? Kakashi stopped mid-walk to home at the thought. He quickly shook the thought out of his head. Like he'd care who that green idiot hang around, Kakashi thought, nearly storming home.
Chapter 3. Not too long after, Guy managed to spar with Rin. Her improvement rate was greater than Obito. From what he seen and heard from Sakura and Tsudane, he was able to get her to channel chakra through her fist and legs, giving her strength and speed. She was able to leer sensory and suppression pretty quickly. If Tsudane was in the village, she could teach her way more than Guy was able to. Rin was already a medic and he couldn't tech her nothing about that. He suggested her to go and ask for the Hyuga nurse help. Minato and Due couldn't have been happier with Guy. Now if Minato could get Kakashi to spar with Guy. What's with you, Minato? You look overly cheerful this time. Kushina asks the blonde on her couch. Guy is an excellent teacher. Obito and Rin improved greatly with his help. Minato beams. Oh Mato Due-san. Why would he train with Obito and Rin? Don't he usually challenge Kakashi all the time? Kushina questions. He used to. Plus he don't call their training sessions training. He think of it as sparring. Only if I could get Kakashi to agree to spar with him. Minato says with a sigh. You know how stubborn Kakashi can be. So how did Rin and Obito improve exactly? Kushina questions sitting by him. Obito's sensory level is at mid-Jounin now. Rin's sensory level is at high Chunin. Though Kakashi level is at low Jounin without Guy help. Obito and Rin suppression is at high Jounin level. Obito can quickly adapt to his opponent now. He leaves very few to no attack openings. Rin could enhance chakra around her legs and fist, giving her a huge amount of strength and speed. Her medic techniques are expanding extremely. Guy gave her a medic name to learn from. Minato states. Kushina blinks in surprise at that. I need to see their sparring sessions. Probably get him to spar with me. Kushina laughs out. To be honest, Minato did ask Guy to spar with him and was able to renew his moves. Minato even convinced the Hokage and Guy sensei to get Guy tagged along to their next C-ranked mission. Kakashi was a bit more cold than usual. He blinked once he seen Minato with Guy. He may or may not eavesdropped. Okay, he did, hiding behind a nearby building. Hey Guy, I got permission from the Hokage and your team leader to let you join my team for our next C-ranked mission. Minato states with a smile. He could see Guy frown slightly. I am very grateful for this youthful invitation. Though I must ask, why take me? When your team is fully capable of handling themselves? Guy questioned, still frowning. You're absolutely right. You helped us all improve, including myself. I just think you could help us farther if you tagged along. Minato said, smiling sheepishly. Kakashi blinked at that. Then frowned, Why did Guy have to tag along? Oh, okay, that sound great. Guy said enthusiastically. Anyways, would you mind also sparring with Kakashi? He's a bit moody to ask himself. Minato asks. Kakashi's eyes widen at the mention of his name. As youthful as it would be to challenge Kakashi to a sparring match. I refuse to do so. Guy states. Minato looked taken back by that. Kakashi for some reason felt torn by that. Why's that? Minato asks, truthfully curious. My sparring match are really set to help fix unyouthful areas. Plus I need to spend more time with Rin and Obito to pass on as much as I can. You yourself is great but have errors in your skills. Guy states. I've managed to help Genma and Ebisu improve a bit. Not nearly as much as you three. Guy says with a sigh. That's great and all, but don't you think Kakashi needs to improve with his teammates? Minato questions. Well, I'm obviously helping Genma and Ebisu because they are my teammates. Rin, Obito, and you is because you all really need it. Guy explains. And Kakashi don't? Minato questions, raising an eyebrow. Something seemed off about his explanation. Kakashi honestly wanted to know why Guy was so set on not training him. Kakashi is different. Not too long after. Guy managed to spar with Rin. Her improvement rate was greater than Obito. From what he's seen and heard from Sakura and Tsudane. He was able to get her to channel chakra through her fist and legs. Giving her strength and speed. She was able to leer sensory and suppression pretty quickly. If Tsudane was in the village, she could teach her way more than Guy was able to. Rin was already a medic and he couldn't tech her nothing about that. He suggested her to go and ask for the Hyuga nurse help. Minato and Due couldn't have been happier with Guy. Now if Minato could get Kakashi to spar with Guy. What's with you, Minato? You look overly cheerful this time. Kushina asks the blonde on her couch. Guy is an excellent teacher. Obito and Rin improved greatly with his help. Minato beams. Oh, Mato Due-san. Why would he train with Obito and Rin? Don't he usually challenge Kakashi all the time? Kushina questions. He used to. Plus he don't call their training sessions training. He think of it as sparring. Only if I could get Kakashi to agree to spar with him. Minato says with a sigh. You know how stubborn Kakashi can be. So how did Rin and Obito improve exactly? Kushina questions, sitting by him. Obito's sensory level is at mid-Jounin now. Rin's sensory level is at high Chunin. Though Kakashi level is at low Jounin without Guy help. Obito and Rin suppression is at high Jounin level. Obito can quickly adapt to his opponent now. He leaves very few to no attack openings. Rin could enhance chakra around her legs and fist. Giving her a huge amount of strength and speed. Her medic techniques are expanding extremely. Guy gave her a medic name to learn from. Minato states. Kushina blinks in surprise at that. I need to see their sparring sessions. Probably get him to spar with me. Kushina laughs out. To be honest, Minato did ask Guy to spar with him and was able to renew his moves. Kakashi honestly wanted to know why Guy was so set on not training him. Kakashi is different. Guy states, frowning. Before his eyes drifted to the ground. That statement hurt Kakashi more than he should have let it. He don't need my help right now and probably never would. Kakashi is a difficult and complex person with many layers. I'm worried if I make the wrong unyouthful step I would hurt him. Where he would turn nearly unfixable. Guy says seriously. True, if he failed at training Rin and Obito. Even Minato, they could all die off. More terrible than before, and it can have a prolonged effect on Kakashi. That would even affect his future team badly. And spell disaster for everyone. Minato looked at the boy seriously. Something wasn't adding up properly. Kakashi looked shocked at his words. He's worried about hurting me. Kakashi felt oddly flushed at the explanation. It made his stomach flutter intensely. Kakashi quickly left. Minato eyes shooting to the place Kakashi hid. Minato smirked victoriously in his head. "Ah, I see, be prepared when I come to you about our mission," Minato states. Guy nodded happily. "Of course." Guy shouts out. X equals X. Kakashi's face was in his hands as he laid back on his bed. Face still heated once he realized. He harbored feelings for the spandex ninja. Even worse that he woke up from that dream. It went a bit like this. Kakashi angrily walked to where Guy was training. He was about to tell him off. About how he was perfectly fine on handling his own things, and how anything Guy would do could possibly hurt him being false. Till he stopped dead in his tracks. Seeing Guy upper spandex off. Hanging limp around his waist. Toned chest showed off. His face contorted to hard concentration. From whatever he was doing. Trickles of sweat curved down his chest and abs. "Hey Kakashi." Guy voice snapped Kakashi out of his previous thoughts. His face heating up. As Guy walked over. Kakashi quickly turned his head. "What's wrong, Kakashi?" Guy asks curiously. Still with that breathtaking grin on his face. Kakashi let out an eep when he felt strong arms circle his waist. Face blushing furiously as he looked up at Guy. Whose face turned serious. As his eyes looked deeply into Kakashi. Leaning in unconsciously to Guy. His clothed lips and Guy lips were inches apart. "You know you can tell me anything, Kashi," Guy says in a low husky voice. Kakashi mindlessly nodded as he looked into Guy eyes dazed. Guy released one hand from around Kakashi's waist. Pulling his mask down. Claiming Kakashi lips. Kakashi hands clutched at Guy's broad shoulders. Guy lifted him up by his thighs. In response Kakashi wrapped his legs around Guy's waist. Who back him to a near tree as their kiss got more heated. Kakashi moaned out in the kiss. Letting Guy took the chance to rid Kakashi of the mask pooled around his neck and his shirt. Guy leaning in nipping at Kakashi's neck who groans out. Guy. Kakashi moans harshly when the other grinds their erection together. That's when he woke up painting at the intensity of the dream. Now he was blushing harshly. With his hands over his face. Erection straining his pants. Why did it have to be Guy? Chapter 4. Guy was enjoying Dangos. With his teammates and a few other teams. Actually most of his comrades was in there. Kurenai, Akno, Yugao, Rin, Hana, Asuma, Genma, Hei-8, Obito, Kakashi, Ebisu, Kotestu, and Ismo. Hey Guy, when did you get so good? I know it couldn't be your father teaching you. Genma asks. Kakashi gritted his teeth at that. How would Genma possibly known his father didn't teach him? Kakashi didn't like sweats. He was just there because Minato and Kushina pestered him to go with Rin and Obito. I just really kept training. Guy says blankly. Looking down at the table. With his cheek in his palm. He was thinking a lot on how to change events without doing too much damage. Especially since he knew very little about what happened in certain places that caused a chain reaction. Like Obito and the bridge. He knew what mission they went on. Around the time they went. Just not what led up to certain things. He knew Rin died. Just not how only around the time she died. He remember how his father died though. Though around this age all he did was challenge Kakashi and train. So he wasn't really updated with much things. Till it came to him third-handly. Probably if he focused more into his surrounding. It'd be so hard to fix events he hardly knew. Or when he didn't consider himself to have a powerful effect on people. Maybe Naruto should have got the task. easily persuading and changing hearts. But the problem would be no one of this time knew the blonde bundle of joy. It would be hard for him to do anything without putting officials on high alert. Most likely imprison him. Since they were at war and anyone in or out the village could be considered a threat. Probably Kakashi, he knew way more than he did. He would know how to stop chain reaction events. But would the Jounin be emotionally stable to do so? To see a female he supposed to protect die somehow. See his friend he somehow managed to fail. Then to top that off he would fail like he failed Minato and Kushina too. Putting him at a big disadvantage. But still Kakashi was strong, he could probably get through it. Obito though he did change heart during the war. But would still have that brute and merciless instincts. He would be considered cold-blooded. Most likely a spy. Though he would have his fully matured Sharingan and the advanced ones. But there are still so many things that could go so wrong. Danzo for instance. He would target Obito. Guy could feel his head swarming. If he did something wrong, everything would go down in flames. If he did nothing, then he would consider everything to past his fault. He could have fixed it but turned the other way. He couldn't afford to disappoint his father, his students or comrades again. Guy gritted his teeth, clutching his fist. There had to be someone else that could carry such an unyouthful burden better than him. He believed Sasuke was too rash and considered a threat quicker than Naruto would. Even more problematic that he was an Uchiha. Guy never let himself be easily frustrated. But he wasn't a strategist. Taijutsu was the only real thing he was good at. Guy head shot up blinking a few times. Glancing at confused and worried expressions. Why is Kakashi so worried? Shouldn't he be cooler and cold during this time? Did I change that? Or was it a chain reaction of what I did? Guy questioned himself. Kakashi felt his face heat up slightly when Guy's eyes locked with his. Staring at him intensely. Like his dream. Kakashi's face flared. Why did I think of that out of all time? Kakashi quickly looked away, frowning slightly. Guy blinked in confusion. Guy, you're spacing out again. Obito points out in a deadpan tone.
Oh really, I haven't noticed. How unyouthful of me. Guy smiled sheepishly. Are you okay, Guy? You have been sparring with all us lately. Kurenai asks concerned. True, Kurenai did need to protect her future baby daddy. Akno need to be strong enough to face Orochimaru both during this time and the Chunin exams. Kotestu and Izuma were extra manpower during the time needed. Hana and Hayate the same. Plus he was looking for a strong enough medic for Hayate's upcoming illness. Yuga was a plus with her future boyfriend. Apparently Genma and Ebisu need to reach his level quick enough. Rin and Obito go without said. Asuma so he could deal with the Akatsuki properly without dying. Though he didn't believe he could or did teach them much. Since he couldn't help none of them in their clan ability or special ability. Only if I could be more useful. Maybe if I could also specialize in ninjutsu. Damn it, I need more time. Guy ran his hand down his face in frustration. Fuck, I just need to focus. I don't matter at the moment. Guy sighs, not realizing he voiced his thoughts. They all shared glances. What was up with Guy? He was never like this. Something clearly frustrating him. But they decided it was best to say nothing. Guy. Akno questions, frowning deeply. I'm perfectly fine. The flames of youth burn brightly in me. Guy said, giving his signature smile. If you ask me, they grow dull. Kakashi thought bitterly. Guy had that look on his face that he carried too much weight. And he didn't know what to do. Very similar to his father before he died. That conclusion twisted Kakashi gut so painfully, he couldn't be think about committing suicide, could he? Kakashi's stomach twisted painfully again. Rin nor did the others believe him. How about let's play a game? Rin states, trying to lighten up the mood. And what would that be? Kotestu asks. Truth or dare? Both Yugao and Hana states at the same time. Maybe this'll get something out of him. All the girls thought. Asuma didn't like the sound of that game. The guys didn't neither. Guy didn't mind at all. Sounds like fun. Izumo said sarcastically. Not here, we should go somewhere else. Akno states cheekily, we could go to my compound, plenty of space there. Hana suggests. During the way, Ebisu managed to slither his way out. Kotestu and Izumo ducked off with Ebisu. Genma disappeared before they left the dango shop. Akno deemed them as sissy once they got to the compounded. Kurenai, Akno, Hana, Rin, Yugao. Along with Asuma, Guy, Obito, Hayate, and Kakashi were all sitting in a circle. Chapter 5. Kakashi woke up not too long after, already fully dressed. He contently walked closer to Guy, willing himself not to limp. He still felt a bit giddy and nervous as he walked near Guy. There you two go. I've been looking for you two forever. We just decided that you two won the game. Hana said, crossing his arms. Well, Kakashi happened to find the same hiding spot as me. Guy laughed sheepishly, with Kakashi blushing slightly, reaverting his eyes. You two didn't cheat, did you? Hana accuses. Of course not, that is very unyouthful of us to do. Guy shouts. Hana give him a deadpan look, before blinking, looking over to Kakashi. Why do you smell so much like Guy? Hana questions aloud curiously. Kakashi eyes widen at that. So did Guy's, but not as visible as Kakashi. Hana high-rated smell also caught on to another smell. Her eyes also widening, face turning red. You know what, never mind. I see you guys later. Hana said, quickly moving. Kakashi let out a sigh in relief. You two make a cute couple, by the way. Hana shouts from the distance, making Kakashi back straight and stiffening. Guy laughed at Kakashi, who shot him a glare. Smiley face /X. The next day Kakashi was a bit later to meet up with his team. There he saw Guy standing by Minato. Kakashi eyes widened slightly. There Rin was talking happily to him. Hey Kakashi, we're just waiting for Obito to arrive now. Minato states. As usual. Kakashi added in his head in a deadpan tone. You look tired, Kakashi. Guy comments. Rin nodding in agreement. I just woke up late, that's all. Kakashi states. Rin nods at that, moving over to Minato, able to talk him into training her. Minato usual liked to wait till Obito got there, so it wouldn't feel like he is excluding no one out. Are you sure you're alright, Kakashi? Guy lowers his voice by Kakashi ear, who face instantly heated up, willing himself not to move from Guy. Yeah, like I said, I sleep in a bit too long. Kakashi muttered, looking down at his foot. That was digging into the ground. Kakashi nearly stiffened at the strong arms that circled his waist and chin that laid on his shoulder. You know, you can tell me anything, Kashi. Guy muttered. Kakashi face steaming, remembering his dream and the night before. Kakashi lightly nodded. Relax. Guy says softly. Kakashi sighed, closing his eyes, allowing himself to mold into Guy's embrace. Leaning his head back, and placing his hands over Guy's. Not really minding they were in public. Just listening to Guy's calming breaths. Being against Guy like that made him feel safe. I'm here. An out-of-breath voice yelled, making Kakashi break apart from Guy abruptly. Blushing very hard, making his way over to the others. We will be doing a C-ranked mission tomorrow. I need you all to be prepared to leave Konoha tomorrow. Minato states. The four Chunnins nodded. Before Guy was able to leave, Kakashi grabbed a hold to himself. You can stay over my house till the mission tomorrow. Kakashi states, looking away. Guy blinked at that, before breaking into a smile. Sure thing, I'll go get my stuff and tell my father. Guy said cheerfully. X, smiley face X. Kakashi let Guy place his stuff down, as he finished making some type of fish for the two of them, hoping Guy actually liked it. Guy actually liked it a lot. This is really good, Kakashi, I didn't know you knew how to cook. Guy states happily, causing Kakashi to blush slightly. Thanks, I got it from a cookbook that I had for a while. Kakashi states. Still awesome, I don't know how to cook for nothing. Even with the help of a cookbook. Naruto cook way better than me, and all he eats is ramen. Guy states. Smiling hugely through a mouth full of food. Kakashi blinked at that. Who's Naruto? Kakashi asks, frowning slightly. He thought he never heard of Neji because he was a Hyuga and they were more secretive than a Uchiha, but he was positive he never heard of a Naruto. Except the ramen topping. Which was weird since Guy just said this Naruto eat a lot of ramen. Similar to Kushina, he mentally added. Guy looked surprised he had let that slip. Maybe because he was too relaxed around Kakashi. That was going to be a problem. Especially when Kakashi starts to ask questions. Guy looked down, frowning deeply. Kakashi looked taken back at the sudden movement. Figuring he must have did something wrong. To change Guy's whole mode with a simple question. Never mind, it don't need to answer it, especially if it's personal. Kakashi looked down at his plate. Causing Guy to look up at him. Oh, it's fine, Kashi, the question just took me back, that's all. Guy smiles sheepishly, scratching the back of his head. Kakashi noticed how Guy barely talked after that. Being more reserved. Kakashi was halfway asleep when Guy entered his room and bed. Wrapping an arm around the shorter male. Pulling him close to his bare chest. Causing Kakashi's face to flare up. As Guy laid his chin on Kakashi's shoulder. Kakashi found himself snuggling into the warmth the next morning. Kakashi's hand was laid over Guy's. His foggy eyes parted, looking over to his clock. Kakashi's eyes went wide, jumping from his bed. Causing Guy to wake up. To see Kakashi shuffling around his room. Guy, get up, we're late. Kakashi states, causing Guy to blink. Almost causing Guy to burst out laughing. Causing Kakashi to turn and glare at him. It's not funny. Now hurry up and get up. Kakashi says, throwing some hard object at him. Which Guy dogged, laughing. Kakashi grumpily walked next to Guy. As they went to meet his team. Guy was still laughing. Come on, Kakashi, being a little late isn't that bad. Guy states, amusedly slinging an arm over Kakashi's shoulder. Who blushed at the contact, but said nothing of it. As he crossed his arm, turning away. Frowning a bit. We're going to be 30 minutes late. Half the time Obito run late. That isn't being a little late. Kakashi replied, face still red. True, still not as bad as Obito timing. Guy says, placing his hands behind his head. Making Kakashi feel a bit disappointed at the lost. They finally made it to Minato and Rin. Obito arriving later with some lame excuse. Our mission today will be destroying a bridge. Minato states, clapping his hands together. So a sabotage mission. Kakashi states. Exactly, we'll need to be quick. Kakashi will be our team leader today. Minato states. Of course, Obito objected. Guy eyes widened at that. He never thought this was the mission Minato was asking him to tag along. If he knew, he would have planned ahead. Kakashi looked over at Guy, noticing his shift in emotion. Kakashi frowned at that. Something was wrong. He could feel it. Let's move out, team. 7, Chapter 6. He was more distant and talked a lot less. Kakashi couldn't help but to think it was his fault. After asking him who was Naruto. It seemed as if Guy didn't want to be near him. Kakashi looked at the ground at the thought. They were eating. Guy eating near Obito. Kakashi, scared at that. Why is Obito always getting Guy's attention? Is it because he's a Uchiha? Maybe because of his personality. Maybe if I'd act like Obito more. Guy would turn all his attention to me. Kakashi knew the thought was considered a bit selfish, but the only real attention he earned from someone paid less attention to him. Which was a bit ironic. How he always wanted Guy to stop bugging him. Kakashi snorted at the thought. Kakashi wasn't even sure on what to call his and Guy complicated relationship. Technically we aren't together. Does that mean he could be with Obito if he wanted to? Kakashi grimaces at that. They did have sex. Making Kakashi feel more attached to Guy more than ever. Kakashi, are you okay? You haven't eaten. Rin states. True, he'd been poking at his food for the past 5 minutes. Kakashi seen Guy glance at him almost noticeable. Kakashi frowns looking away. Yeah, I'm fine, Rin. Kakashi said, sitting his food to the side. Rin looked like she didn't buy it. It was clearly something bugging him. Are you sure, Kakashi? You look pretty upset. Rin states. Kakashi thought it'd be a good idea to get a few things off his chest that was bugging him. Kakashi let out a sigh. Am I unlikable? Kakashi asks, looking over to his brunette teammate. Rin looked taken back by the straightforward question. After learning to get stronger, her crush on the other faded away. She actually found she needed a lot more to work on than to worry about petty crushes. Hanging out with Obito got more fun than usual, though a bit disappointed with how much him and Guy spent with each other. Well, you are hard to get to know, but you are not unlikable, Rin states. Rin seen Kakashi frown slightly. Then why do Guy hang around Obito so much? He questions, not really noticing how it sounded. To Rin, he sounded extremely jealous of Obito, which brought Rin to another thought, but decided not to speak on it. Well, Obito has a personality that naturally draws people to him, like a beacon of some sorts. Rin explains. So I do need to start acting like Obito, Kakashi states to no one in particular. Rin blinked in surprise at that. So he is attracted to Guy, Rin thought. Rin sighed at the way Kakashi was a prodigy. The way he went about this problem was that of a child. To change who you are, to get someone attention, that was the opposite thing to do. I wouldn't advise you to do that. I am pretty sure that Guy would like you for your own unique personality, Rin states. Kakashi looked a bit taken back by that, then looked over to where Guy and Obito was frowning. Then why hang around Obito so much? All the years he's been bothering me. Just suddenly stops and hang around Obito, while being a decent person, Kakashi says, looking back over to Rin. So you think that Guy being around you only bring out the less desirable side of him, while being around Obito did the exact opposite? Rin replies. I didn't say that. Kakashi mutters, frowning even more deeply. Though that is how you implied it, Kakashi. Do you really think changing anything about you is going to attract Guy? He still hangs around you for a reason, Rin states seriously. Not liking this low self-esteemed Hatake, it was a nerve-wracking as Guy losing hope, or Obito being completely tainted, consumed by void, to actually act like a regular Uchiha. That's what she liked about him. Sure, he had that Uchiha pride. That's about it. He don't got their arrogance or attitude. Even better that he didn't mature as fast as them. Rin shook out of her thoughts, seeing Kakashi in his own. Rin looked over to Guy. He was acting strange since the beginning of the mission. More alert, tense, and not talkative. Eyes always shifting to Obito, as if he knew something was going to happen. What threw Rin off was his eyes, more than his mere movements. He looked as if he was frightened of something. Maybe letting them down. Or someone else perhaps. He looked like he didn't know what to do and was desperately trying to think of an answer. Even more offsetting that he looked truly and deeply angry. More than a Uchiha or Hyuga could ever possess. Looking over to Kakashi and Minato, they seemed to notice. Especially how Kakashi kept shifting uncomfortably. Even Obito seemed agitated by that. Guy wasn't looking at no one, just looking heatedly at the flames that danced gracefully in front of him, fire illuminating his features more, making his expression all the more intense. I think it's time to get some rest, Minato says, snapping everyone out their thoughts. As they looked over to him, Minato was sure Guy knew something that he didn't. Guy slept on his back. Eyes hardened as he stared at the top of the tent. Kakashi could feel the frustration radiating off the other male. Kakashi's mind kept flowing back to how Guy acted similar to his father. He didn't want to imagine what it'd be like if he found Guy's body. He heard Guy shift. Kakashi stiffened slightly when Guy's arms wrapped around him, pulling him closer to the other's body. Relax, Kashi, I'm here, Guy murmurs softly. Kakashi never knew how Guy could read him so well. Guy was even farther ahead of Minato in that department. Kakashi let himself be soothed in a shallow slumber. Smiley face X. The mission went a bit haywire. When Minato decided to split from the others, Rin got kidnapped. Guy was a bit surprised how Kakashi was willing to leave Rin. Guy clutched his fist. Obito gave him a little speech before pre-suing his teammate. To think you'll stoop as low and leave a comrade behind. Guy couldn't even look at him. He had to go save Rin and Obito. Kakashi gritted his teeth at the overwhelming guilt that ate at him. He managed to piss off Obito more than usual. Not only anger Guy, but truly disappointed him. Pitiful, smiley face X. Guy seemed to take in a different path than Obito. He couldn't figure out why. He ended up finding Rin first. It was strange. He was sure the Uchiha was way ahead of him. Probably got caught up. Which was bad. Rin finally noticed him. Instantly mumbling something under the gag, his eyebrows knitted in confusion. Till he heard her muffle run. Guy instantly dogged an attack. That was delivered from behind him. Guy jumped an appropriate amount away from Kako. You're that weird-looking genin from before. Don't worry, your death won't be as painful. Kako laughed out. Guy's face dulled over. Eyes darkening a bit. Madara words were near the same as Kako. But Guy couldn't think of Kako as a low-level jounin. All he could see was a powerful enemy that massacred thousands of his comrades. Other than Obito, Madara was the reason for Neji's death, so Guy body admittedly went rigged. Kako and Rin eyes widened at the sight. Red vapor surrounding Guy. Red and orangish lines going down his face. Hair flaring up. Guy could only see war. He couldn't see he was in a cave with a bounded teammate. In a flash, Guy sent Kako flying into the nearest wall. Kako coughed up blood. Rin was terrified at the sight. Guy was in pure rage, and it didn't look like he was coming out anytime soon. Flinging Kako around like a rag doll. Kakashi and Obito was more than surprised. When they first arrive, Guy beating someone to a pulp, person for gone and dead by Guy's brutal attacks. Obito gaining conscious first ran over to Rin, freeing her. The cave was collapsing in from Guy's force. Obito managed to get Rin out. Stay here, I'll go back for Guy. Kakashi states, leaving, not waiting for a response. The wind around Guy was harsh and heavy. Kakashi could barely open his good eye. As he got closer to the raging male. Guy lets go, the cave is falling in. Kakashi shouts over the wind. Kakashi grabbed a hold of Guy's arm. As the spandex ninja was about to go in for another constant punch, Kakashi was a ninja, but had to hold back a gag. At Kako mushed and nearly gone face. Even the bones were being smashed. Guy, he's dead. Kakashi shouts to him. He killed them. He murdered Neji. He hurt Lee and Tenten. My students. They're all gone. Guy trails off. Turning to Kakashi, who holds back a gasp. Guy's infuriated expression was accompanied by hot tears trailing down his face. That look was so indescribable. It struck an amount of fear in Kakashi. The whited-haired nin didn't even knew he had. He's gonna pay Madara. Guy was abruptly stopped by Kakashi hugging him tightly, face in his chest. Guy blinked, looking around in realization. Till his eyes landed on Kakashi, who was hiding his face into his chest. You have me, don't you? Kakashi mummers out in his chest. Kakashi. Guys, hurry up. They heard Obito shout for them. Guy and Kakashi managed to run out. With a second to spare, Guy leant back on a tree bark, letting out a breath. Opening his eyes to realize 3 pair eyes were on him. Guy, what was that? This is the end of this part. Don't forget to subscribe and comment down below. Thanks for watching. See you guys on my next video.